The Defense of Marriage Act was first introduced to the House of Representatives by Representative Bob Barr on May 7, 1996. It was later passed by the House with a vote of 342 to 67 on July 7, 1996. Next, it was sent to the Senate and was passed on September 10, 1996, with a vote of 85 to 14. The law was passed at a time when both the House and the Senate were controlled by the GOP party. 11 days later, it was enacted into law by President Bill Clinton. Section 3 of DOMA defines a marriage as being between one man and one woman, and spouse refers only to a person of the opposite sex, who is husband or wife. Under the Act, no U.S. state is required to recognize any other state same-sex marriage. It also prevents the federal government from providing benefits such as job benefits to federal employees' same-sex spouses, Social Security survivor benefits, immigration, and final income tax returns to the couples of same sex. On February 23, 2011, President Obama's administration announced that it would no longer defend Section 3 of DOMA in light of new litigation that was brought within the Second Circuit Court, which raised opportunities to examine the issue of constitutional scrutiny concerning sexual orientation-based classifications. They believe that all laws that discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation warranted a heightened scrutiny. The heightened or strict scrutiny standard is used in cases that involve matters of discrimination based on sex. In view of this, DOMA's Section 3 could not meet this standard. The administration also stated it would continue to comply with Section 3 of DOMA, consistent with the executive's obligation to take care that the laws of the country are faithfully executed, unless they are upheld by Congress or that the judicial branch makes a definitive verdict on the constitutionality of the law. On December 7, 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court announced that it would hear two cases that involve same-sex marriage. On March 26, the court will first hear arguments on California's Proposition 8 case in Hollingsworth v. Perry. Hollingsworth v. Perry was filed on behalf of two same-sex couples originally May 2009, which asked for a preliminary order blocking Proposition 8, the ballot order which ended sex marriages in California. The American Foundation for Equal Rights represents the gay couples which are challenging the law. Then on March 27th, the case which challenges the constitutionality of DOMA, United States v. Windsor. Edith Windsor married her longtime love, Thea Spire, in Canada in 2007. When Thea died in 2009, Edie was hit with a $360,000 inheritance tax. Even though the state of New York recognized their marriage, the federal government could not view their marriage as valid because they were of the same sex. Adam Umhofer stated that a growing majority of people across the nation see that Proposition 8 and laws like it are unfair, unlawful, and are contrary to the basic American values. It is time for the Supreme Court to recognize our Constitution's promise of marriage equality for all. Lawyers for Edith Windsor filed their brief arguing the DOMA exclusion of same-sex married couples from federal benefits should be struck down because it violated the couple's guarantee of equal protection under the law. The essential question that the U.S. Supreme Court Justice must decide in both of these appeals is whether the U.S. Constitution protects a right to same-sex marriage. In the Proposition 8 case, the question is whether this law amounts to discrimination against homosexuals, and if so, is in violation of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. Will the majority of justices decide the same-sex couples are entitled to a higher protected status as members of a distinct and powerless group subjected to discrimination? The question presented here is a narrow one. Is there a sufficient federal interest in treating married gay couples differently from all married couples for all purposes under federal law? There is not, says Roberta Kaplan of New York. I plan on interviewing Professor Hurt to learn all there is to know about both Amendment 5 and 14 and his opinion upon the constitutionality of DOMA. When I interviewed Michael Farmer, we will learn how DOMA has affected the LGBT community of Central Florida. Also, how it felt to be the co-founder of the first ever Gay-Straight Alliance at Apaka High School, located in the conservative part of Orange County. Through interviews, we will learn the different perspectives of those who are out in the trenches fighting for equality for all Americans. Finally, as stated within the picture, the time is now for this journey to equality.